Alright, what's up guys? Savage Matt Horror here, and it's time for another Steelbook video, but this time I thought we would do a Steelbook collection video, but only for the horror genre, because, I don't want the video to be too long. Now, as a lot of you know, 2 years ago, or at least, actually almost 3 years ago, when my daughter was born, I sold all of my thousands of DVDs and Blu Rays. And I decided I really got into the Steelbook hobby. And so this is what we're going to be looking at today. All of my horror Steelbooks. Starting right here with this Universal Monsters Classics Steelbook right here. This has got 6 movies. I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to Universal Monsters, but it's always nice to have. Then, of course, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, 1960, a classic. We all got a little mad sometimes, of course. All right, my only George A. Romero, Night of the Living Dead. I don't have any of the other, Living Dead movies. I would love to get the other one eventually. The Exorcist, William Friedkin. Awesome. Can't believe they're making more now, but, anyways. I'm going to try to be brief. I'm going to try to go fast because sometimes I talk too much. So we have the original Toby Hooper. Toby, I'm not sure. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is, as far as I'm concerned, pretty much the only good one in the franchise, the original. All right, Brian De Palma's Carrie, again, pretty much the only good Carrie movie out there. By far the best one, anyways. Awesome. Now, I realized that Assault on Precinct 13 is not a horror movie, so I'm just going to show it quickly, but I have all of the John Carpenter Steelbooks together here. The Fog, it's a set, sort of. It's not really a set, but you know what I mean. These are the Scream Factories one, and they are awesome. So, The Fog, absolutely love The Fog. Escape from New York, right here. Recently, though, they've been re-releasing a lot of these Scream Factories Steelbooks, and, well, they're 4K now. The Thing, one of my favorite John Carpenter right there. The Thing, The Fog, and Halloween. Big Trouble in Little China. And I have not been getting these new 4Ks as much as it's, kind of enticing. But, Prince of Darkness. Love Prince of Darkness. The soundtrack and, the movie is such a strange little... I really love this movie. Definitely one of his more underrated. We're also missing a lot of John Carpenter stuff here. They Live, another great underrated John Carpenter movie. Where's Mouth of Madness? Where's Vampires? We're missing a lot. And instead of re-releasing these new movies, like in these new 4K, they should have just, I don't know. Scream Factories, please release the rest of John Carpenter's filmography. Jaws, all right. Now, this is a bit of a weird one when it comes to horror. I mean, for me, for a lot of people, I know it's kind of more of a thriller, but it's always been... it's horror adjacent, at least. Anyways. Dario Argento, Suspiria, one of my favorite horror movies. It's amazing. And this is one of my favorite, most cherished Steelbook right here. 4K restoration. My God, the colors in this movie. Just mind-blowing. Then, Piranha. Yeah. It's fun, but that's about it. And then we have the 2000, I don't remember, is it 2010 remake? I saw the Steelbook at a certain point online going for crazy prices. Then I thought to myself, shoot, maybe I should have kept it sealed. But, oh well, I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's like it was super rare all of a sudden or something. All right, and now the reason we don't have the original Halloween with John Carpenter's stuff here as well, this was all of the Scream Factory stuff, and this is not Scream Factory. And the order, generally speaking, it's a yearly order, except when we get the franchises. It's messy. I have a system, but it's very messy. So this is the very recent Best Buy 4K for Halloween. Very cool. Yes. All right. And now I have a few of those here that are sealed, actually, that I kept sealed, like Halloween 2 and 3. Those are Scream Factories, and I kept them sealed because I have, the Blu-ray box there, so it was kind of like, well, why would I, those are just really cool to have. So anyways, Season of the Witch, which I love this movie, man. I don't care what everybody says, I love it. Such a weird movie. Rob Zombie's Halloween remake, I also kept it sealed because it's part of the set. And yeah. All right. David Gordon Green, Hallow Green, as the Halloweenies would call it. You know, I'm not crazy about it. It's H4O, basically. And here we have it again. This was a 4K release. I might sell the regular Blu-ray here, but I don't know. I like having both. Kills, which is even worse than 2018. It's a mess, but it's a fun mess though. Like, you can have fun with this movie, but it's really messy. I'll get the Halloween and Steelbook very soon. Should probably get it next week, I think. Phantasm, love the original Phantasm. From the soundtrack to the weird atmosphere and the themes of grief, you know, it's a great little movie. Salem's Lot, the very first made-for-TV adaptation of Stephen King's. I actually read the novel last year, and it was great to read the novel. It was a fun ride. Humanoids from the Deep. Yeah, that's definitely a weird one. If I remember correctly, it's one of those Roger Corman produced, or it's a weird one. Motel Hell, that's another very weird movie. There's a mood, a vibe for these movies. The Shining. All right, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. So yeah, classic. I mean, what else can we say? Classic movie, but not very faithful to the book, but still great movie. And Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep, I thought, was phenomenal. Really loved it. God, I'm forgetting the director's name, but he also did Gerald's Game. Flanagan, yeah, Mike Flanagan. Friday the 13th, also kept those sealed because I have the big box set here, so I don't know why I keep getting these, but I just can't help myself. So, same with part 2. It's sealed. Kind of hoping one day these things are going to be worth so much, and I'm still going to hold on to them no matter what. Part 3. I'll leave them for my daughter, you know, and she can decide what she wants to do with them. All right, the 2009 remake, which I'm really not a fan of, but yes, also kept it sealed. Okay, My Bloody Valentine. If I can just get it out. All right, there it is. It's a cool looking steelbook for sure. Put that here. Galaxy of Terror is another one of those weird ones. A lot of these movies, they're fun, cheap looking movies, but I love the feel of them. Ooh, The Howling. Joe Dante's The Howling. Now, I love Joe Dante as a director, man. Gremlins, he does a lot of like really weird movies, and The Howling, honestly, for me, almost as good as this next one here. Actually, I think it's on par for me. I love both American Werewolf and The Howling. American Werewolf, though, is one of those perfect horror comedies because it's hilarious and it's fun, and I love both of them. Oh, but then we get to my very favorite horror franchise of all time, The Evil Dead. Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi. Oh God, I love it. I have multiple tattoos of The Evil Dead on me. I mean, look, I've got the Book of the Dead here, Evil Dead 2, Book of the Dead. I've got the all 3 movies on the clamshell VHS. I kept those. I don't have a lot of VHS left, but I'm glad I kept those. Steelbook for Evil Dead 2, very cool. I love the Evil Dead Rise trailer we got yesterday, by the way. That was like, woo, that was amazing. Army of Darkness. So again, this is a Scream Factory. They have re-released this recently on 4K, but I'm really just trying to be reasonable here and not double dip and get those 4K releases. It's not easy. All right, 2013 remake, which I actually love. I think it's one of those great remakes. Jane Levy is so cool in this movie. She kicks ass as Mia. For a long time, we were all kind of hoping we'd get a sequel for this, but I'm still very much looking forward to Evil Dead Rise. All right, Ash versus Evil Dead Season 1, unfortunately, is not sealed. This is a just a little sort of a paper bag. I got that shrink plastic bag I got. It's like double protection, and this is a metal pack. This is not a steel book. Technically, it's worth mentioning, but this is one of my most rare steel books that I have, along with Suspiria. Seasons 2 and 3, however, I kept sealed, absolutely. But I love Ash vs. Evil Dead so much. I'm not crazy when usually they make series out of, old horror stuff, but Ash vs. Evil Dead is definitely the best horror series that came out of a horror franchise. I love Pablo and Kelly. I love Ruby. I love what they did with this, and I was super bummed out that it was canceled. But you know what? I think I'm just really grateful that we got 3 seasons worth, 30 episodes. It is the perfect combination of horror and comedy. A lot of blood, a lot of gore, but I find myself laughing all the time. It's, like I said, The Evil Dead is my favorite horror franchise. Yep. Continuing with another weird one, Forbidden World. That's definitely one of those Roger Corman produced or directed. I've mentioned. I honestly, they're fun, but like I said, there's a vibe for these movies. Slumber Party Massacre, again, was a cheap little slasher, but there's fun to be had. I haven't seen the more recent one, though. Was it 2019 or something? I have to check it out. I heard some good things. We'll have to look into it. And, of course, Joe Dante's The Gremlins, which I mentioned recently. Love Gremlins. I mean, hey, that's one of the first movies. I had this on VHS as a kid. I think I was maybe 6 years old. Yeah, that young, but I loved it so very much. It sucks that there's no Steelbook for the sequel, the new batch, Poltergeist, all right. Tobe Hooper. Although we never really know, it seems like Spielberg might have directed a lot of this or not. There's a bit of a weird debate on that. This is another one that I remember watching as a very young kid, and Poltergeist, Gremlins, and House. If you remember that House movie, the original, that was some of my introductions to the horror genre. Life Force, vampires, space vampires, right? Yeah, that was a weird movie, but I actually really dug it. I would suggest you look into this one. I honestly, it might be better than you remembered. I had a lot of fun with this. It's a weird little movie. Fright Night, sort of a classic. I mean, it's fun. It is fun, yeah. I still haven't even seen the Colin Farrell remake. I can't believe it. I have to look into that. But this is a fun, love the music. The soundtrack is very cool. It's just a fun little vampire movie. Always fun. And yeah, now we're going to move, soon we're going to move into the 90s. Still have a few here. Oh man, they're too tight. Ooh, okay, the original Predator. Right there. Classic. I have to get some Alien Steelbooks, but yeah, this is the original Predator right here. Just gonna put that right over there. Okay, Pumpkinhead. Only seen the first one, the original, and it's a fun little movie. Not crazy about it, but it's fun. Have to check the sequels eventually. Night of Demons, same thing here. I've only seen the first one. It's fun. It's one of those little horror movies. It's a fun one. Okay, the original made-for-TV Stephen King adaptation of It, Tim Curry. It's fun. The newest adaptation, Bill Skarsgård. This is the first one right here, and we have chapter 2, of course, right there. Too much CGI in these movies, but they were ultimately, they were decent. They were fun. I've enjoyed them, but, the CGI was overwhelming. Okay, Francis Ford Coppola with Dracula. Some weird acting in this movie. It feels like everyone's kind of over the top. Keanu Reeves specifically is just not great. But hey, it's undeniably entertaining. It's kind of like overindulgence from Coppola, I feel, in this movie. It's a little too much at times, but you can't deny that it's fun. It's a wild ride. Speaking of wild rides, From Dusk Till Dawn, that movie is wild. There's such a tonal shift halfway through, and it becomes something else altogether. If you haven't seen this one, check it out. Or if you love Tarantino dialogue, Tarantino movies, man, what a ride. Okay, now we enter the 2000s, I do believe, with one of my favorite horror comedies ever, and that's American Psycho, which really shouldn't be funny considering the subject matter, but it's hilarious because of God, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Batman. Christian Bale. Oh my God, his performance is so freaking good in this movie. It's over the top, and me and my wife will watch this at least once a year, and we'll, like, you know, piss our pants. But the guy is so pitiful. He's so, like, you know, full of himself. It's incredible, but the performance is hilarious. You can't help but to laugh. This is a really good time for me. Yep, definitely one of my favorites. Then we have the, oh God, Paul Anderson Resident Evil movies, which are not very good, but hey, at this point, I'm guilty of having seen all 6 of them in theaters. I can't believe I've been encouraging these movies, and I feel shameful, but hey, they're dumb fun. You know, I'm a huge fan of the original games. I grew up also playing, like, the original 2, 3, the GameCube remake 0, and yeah, it's not good. Which, something that's even more heartbreaking is the newest Resident Evil movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, because there was so much potential here. Some of the set pieces, like the police station, is so cool, but why combining the first 2 stories together? This movie, for as much as it gets right, it also equally awful. A lot of weird casting decisions here. It's like, what the hell? Seriously, what the hell? Heartbreaking. The Ring. All right, one of my favorites of the American remakes of Japanese or, you know, or Asian horror movies. I love the original Japanese too, but this is one of, I would argue, one of the better American remakes. I think this one, it's not as effective as the American remake, as the Japanese original. It's not, you know, it's not very subtle, but it's still great. I remember watching this. Oh my God, I don't remember. I was pretty young. I was with my first girlfriend, and we loved watching it. We would watch it over and over. Good times. I love this movie. Love the Japanese more, and I've actually been reading the book trilogy over the last couple of years. I've really enjoyed the books too. If you haven't read those, check them out. It's good stuff. Cabin Fever. Now, I'm really not a big Eli Roth fan, but Cabin Fever is undeniably fun. If you like these, you know, sort of asshole characters that Eli Roth does a lot of, you know, ultimately it's gory, it's funny. I enjoy this one, but it's not for everyone. It's really not. Sorry about that. Shaun of the Dead. More of a comedy, really, but it's horror adjacent as far as I'm concerned. I keep it in there. It's funny. It's part of the Cornetto trilogy. I don't have the other 2s, unfortunately. Saw. God. So this is the collection and has the first 7 movies, but it also has 2017's Jigsaw in there. Man, Saw was my teenage years. I would go to the movie theater and watch every single one of them. I was obsessed with Saw at a certain point in my life. Looking back on it now, they're not great movies, but there's a fun kind of melodramatic storyline that keeps going with each and every one of them. And hey, I think I'll always love Saw, you know, but they're not great movies. And there you go, Spiral from the Book of Saw. This is the latest one, and this was the first time really we got a Saw movie that really felt like a spin-off. I think we can all agree that this really, for the first time ever, you know, there was absolutely no Tobin Bell. This was, I'm not crazy about it, but it was interesting. There's some good gore, some good stuff. But I'm honestly looking forward to Saw 10, Saw X, they're calling it now. Tobin Bell apparently coming back. Eli Roth, there we go. This is my second Eli Roth movie here, the original Hostel. I really don't like the second one, or the third one for that matter, the direct-to-DVD Hostel 3. But the first one is undeniably intense, very brutal. If you're into that sort of stuff, like the Saw stuff, well, yeah, very intense. Not a big Eli Roth fan, though, like I said. Okay, anthology movies are often, you know, they're often uneven, but this is a pretty good one. I think we can all agree. Trick or Treat is a lot of fun. Of course, some of the different stories here are better than the others. They're not all equally great, but this is a really solid little anthology movie here. I'm looking forward to a new one. I don't know, they've been teasing a sequel for so long now. Ooh, The Orphanage, one of my favorite foreign movies. This is a Spanish language, but you have to check this movie out. So good. It will get you emotional, and I don't want to spoil anything, but wow. Ultimately, at the end of it, when all is revealed, whew, powerful movie. This is so good. I have to rewatch this soon. Such a good movie. Oh, one of my favorite horror comedies of the last 10 years or so. This is, what is it, 2010 to 2011? I can't remember anymore, but The Cabin in the Woods, I love so very much. This is a movie made for fans of horror movies. Oh, it's so good, so good. If you haven't seen this one yet, check it out. It's hilarious, and it's really for fans, like I said, fans of the genre. Now, James Wan with The Conjuring. I'm not a huge Conjuring fan, but the James Wan movies, the first and second one, I think are very solid. They're well made, well crafted, expert directing. And yeah, they're good. They're good movies. I hate the spin-offs mostly. Conjuring 2, like I said, it very solid still. James Wan. James Wan has always made some interesting movies. And it's a shame he was not here to direct the third installment, The Devil Made Me Do It, which definitely the weakest of the trilogy. It's a shame, really, but hey, you still have those two, Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. Their chemistry is so good, so that's what makes the movie still worth watching, in my opinion. But stay away from the Conjuring spin-offs. It Follows. Love this little movie here. This is definitely has like an 80s vibe soundtrack, like a John Carpenter soundtrack. It's so good, and it's not for everybody. I recognize not everybody likes it, but I thought it was fantastic. Creepy and one of those weird, goofy premises, but it's so good. Goosebumps. I realize this is a kid's movie, but I still included it on here. Hey, I'm super nostalgic when it comes to Goosebumps. That was my childhood. I would read those books all the time, and I would watch the TV show also. Good times. The movie is decent. The second one was not as good, but The Witch. I love The Witch. There were so many good horror movies in 2016, and this was one of them. Anya, oh my God, what's her name? Anya Taylor-Joy. Anyways, that was the first time I saw her. It was in this movie, and she, my God, so good. The atmosphere in this movie, oof, so very good. Which leads us to, I don't like Cloverfield. I'm going to be honest with you guys, but I love 10 Cloverfield Lane. It has one of my favorite actresses, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Stone Cold Fox. She is gorgeous, and I love her and all the movies that she does. And this movie right here, the best Cloverfield movie ever, period. I really don't care for the original. Third one was weak. This one, you could argue, is more of a thriller, but hey, it's so good. And the fine line between thriller and horror, it's always hard to kind of, Another 2016 release, Train to Busan, one of the best zombie movies ever. And zombie movies is not something that I'm super crazy about in the first place, but this one right here is so wild, and it gets pretty emotional. This Korean movie, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Solid movie. I haven't seen the second one, though. I'm gonna have to check. Peninsula. Don't Breathe. Wow. So I love this. This was directed by Fede Alvarez. We did the Evil Dead 2013 movie. Also has Jane Levy in there. And Dylan Minnette from the Goosebumps movie. Yeah, amazing movie. I honestly really enjoyed this one. Stay far away from the sequel. The sequel is awful. The sequel is one of the worst horror sequels of all time. And I wish that I could forget everything about the sequel. Don't Breathe 2 is awful. Jordan Peele with Get Out. Love this movie. I think it's still my favorite Jordan Peele movie, to be honest with you. It's just so solid. I've always described this movie as a sort of a meet the family thing, but it's a horror movie instead of a comedy. But it's also very funny. Like, if you haven't checked it out yet, I really recommend it. Like, what are you doing? Check out Get Out. Us, Jordan Peele's second movie. Very interesting, but I have to rewatch it, honestly. I after seeing it for the first time, I felt like, oh yeah, you would probably get more out of it a second time around. So I'm gonna have to watch it again soon. And we get to his third feature movie, which just came out in 2022, Nope. That was interesting. It had more of a sci-fi vibe to it. Still horror adjacent, I would say, you know, horror related. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. This is also another one I'm going to have to rewatch. A Quiet Place, remember, one of the most tense and, you know, quiet movie-going experiences of my whole life. I'd never seen a movie theater this quiet. It was a lot of fun, honestly. Good stuff. Definitely enjoyed it. Good job, Jim from The Office. John Krasinski. Part 2, which was, the way I would describe it was, if you like the first one, then you'll enjoy this one. It's more of the same. Really does not reinvent the wheel or anything, you know. But hey, sometimes that's all you need. It's a good sequel. It's really more of the same. Ooh, Mandy. What a weird, trippy movie this is. Nicolas Cage, ladies and gentlemen. This is a trippy one. And as a big heavy metal fan and horror movie fan, I really enjoyed it. But I recognize that it's really not for everyone. Yeah, it's weird. Hereditary. So I'm one of those people who loves A24 movies. And Harry Astor has done some amazing work, I think, with this movie. It's phenomenal. Love Toni Collette in there. But for me, his best movie is without a doubt Midsommar. This is the Japanese Steelbook. So like I said, Suspiria Steelbook, Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 1, and then this one here. Those are my 3 most valuable Steelbooks. This is the Japanese Steelbook release. And it looks like it's made of gold. But yeah, this movie, wow. Oh my God. One of my favorites ever. Solid. Looking forward to seeing what Ari Aster does next. Indeed. And then Lee Winnell, James Wan's buddy from, you know, way back then. With The Invisible Man reboot, remake, just a new adaptation altogether. And my God, this was solid. This was really good. I remember it was like, I don't know, not like interested, but I ultimately loved this movie. It's quite something. Speaking of James Wan, we have Malignant, a movie that's extremely divisive. But I think after 30 seconds of it, I was like, okay, so it's going to be like that, huh? It's going to be that kind of acting and dialogue. Once you kind of deal with that, I think it's so much fun. It's such a weird, goofy premise. It's an over-the-top 80s homage, you know, to those weird kind of B movies, Roger Corman type stuff. And I think it's a lot of fun. Definitely. And then we get to 2022. And of course, with 5 Scream 5, I still don't like the title. It's just like David Gordon Green, you know, Halloween. How many movies do we have now named Halloween? Come on. This could have been avoided, especially now that we have confirmation that Scream 6 is actually going to have a 6 in the title. So why would you do this? Why? It's the whole recall, legacy, sequel type thing. But the movie itself is a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I love the new kids in the movie, the new kid actors, teenagers. X and Pearl were my favorite movies of the year 2022. Pearl actually is the better movie. But this was the year of Mia Goth for me. Ultimately, I know it was Jenna Ortega definitely dominated the year too. But for me, it was all about Mia Goth. And I just really hope that we get a Pearl Steelbook eventually, because Pearl was by far my favorite movie of the year. And that is it, guys. These are my horror movie Steelbooks. At the moment, this is what I got for now. Like I said, I stopped collecting DVDs and regular Blu Rays. Focusing now on Steelbooks. It's a lot of fun. It's kept me involved in physical media. And, you know, I have a lot of, you know, I've got some animation, got a few classic comedies, some action stuff, some TV. But for the most part, like, I don't have a lot of DVDs left. I've got my South Park, Simpsons, Futurama, Family Guy stuff, Breaking Bad, Seinfeld, Dexter, 6 Feet Under, one of my favorite HBO shows of all time. But mostly, when my daughter was born, I sold all my DVDs and my Blu-rays, and I started collecting Steelbooks. So that's what I do now. All right, hope that wasn't too hard for you guys to stomach me talking for 30 minutes. I know I lose my words often and I get like confused, but hopefully this wasn't too bad for you. And if you did watch the entire thing, well, hey, awesome, thank you. It was nice chilling with you guys. And that's it. Take care, guys. I'll see you very soon in another horror-related video. Peace. Out of focus. Focus. Peace. That's my trademark right there at the end of the video. Take care, guys.